Okay, the recording has started. All right, does anyone want to give a retelling or get us caught up on what's been going on? I know it's been many weeks of delays, and we still don't have the full party here, but I have little adventures for each of you for the day before the caravan arrives. So while you're doing your preparations.
It's been a while, so I honestly cannot remember personally.
All right, fortunately, I have a timeline that I've been trying to keep up to date. Not as detailed as maybe it should be, but the timeline document does have now, I've gone through and color-coded all the flashbacks. So the flashback activities are all in blue to help track things. The most recent thing you guys did was you were on the moon, and now you're not on the moon, which was a successful set of events on the moon.
And there was that cliffhanger.
There was, but we'll get to that because that's going to happen on day 19, and right now we're on day 18.
Oh, okay. I see. So we're basically in preparation mode before we're actually rewinding a little bit from the cliffhanger.
Yes.
Cool,
So
cool.
you guys had ended the last session doing some strategizing about what you might try to do, and Chris and well, actually, I think almost everybody got some words in on some ideas for this plan, which is that you were going to try to dress up Barnabas as an ambassador from Corlan to try to steer the way in which the stuff gets loaded onto the ships, to try and minimize the number of ships. So you wanted to try and, if you could, get it down to just one ship by loading everything into a single bag of holding. But that was, an idea for what's going to happen on day 19. And here on day 18, it's going to be all about preparation. So Remy, Chris's character, is going to go do some scouting of the Corlanth embassy to see what's going to need to happen in order to find somebody for Barnabas to impersonate and perhaps remove that person from the picture so that there won't be any interruptions. Perhaps put the entire facility on lockdown. I'm not sure what you guys are going to come up with for that. But in the meantime, Barnabas, you're going to need to go clothing shopping to get your costumes in order. Dasco, you probably have some contacts you're going to want to link up with just to make sure you've got the ability to get anything you need while you're here. Let's see. Going back to my list. Rurik, this city, since you've got some spare time, and it might be a good idea to kind of understand the lay of the land, this city does have the most famous swordsmanship academy in the world.
Cool.
It's, if nothing else, given your profession, it would be an interesting tourist spot. But if you're going to be using your talents in this city, it might be a good idea to understand what the score is in terms of, like, who's the guard, like, how well is the city patrolled.
Right,
Yeah.
Totally. I definitely want to do that then.
Let's see. Charles. This city also hosts a significant magical community with access to, and this is one of those magical communities that's all about the free sharing of information. So there's easy access to lots of information about spellcasting, lots of spells that you may or may not know yet. But also, this city is undergoing a bit of a renaissance of magical item creation that might be worth investigating for you to be prepared for whatever might go down. But mostly, it's the spellcasting thing there is a place of learning here where you can probably get access to utility spells if you're missing stuff from your spellbook that you want to get topped up. And of course, Evitala, your family's here. And we know that from last session, one of the things you did is you rolled to check to see if the family yacht was available. We know the result is that your cousin is using it, but you're going to find that out by going to visit your cousin. So that will be something that you'll be doing today, is going to visit your cousin at the yacht to see what's going on. And because I have you on the player crew at the top, let's go ahead and start with Evitala. You guys have arrived fairly early in the morning, so you've got pretty much the whole day to do investigations, learn about things, and yep.
All right.
Also, and this is an apology to you guys and also to anybody watching this later, there are fireworks going off in the background. I know it is not the 4th of July yet, but that is just the street I live on. So, yeah. That's just going to be what's going to happen tonight.
Yeah, it literally smells like fire inside of our apartment right now. Just there's so many fireworks going off around us.
I'm so glad Nada's being chill about this, because back when Laura lived here, her dog Freya would completely freak out, like have panic attack, and would hide under my desk. And then Nat would go to sleep on top of her, because she was very rarely not moving, and so that was like perfect opportunity for big fluffy pillow.
So I've just had a minor yogurt-related disaster, so I can't go first right now because I need to clean up my carpet.
No worries. So we will scroll on down to Dasco. Dasco, you're back in the big city.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure how pleased I am about that. I've been avoiding the city for quite some time.
Yeah, and you last time you were here, you tried to steal a coin from Violethan's vault, if I recall correctly. So you would normally be persona non grata, but you have that little writ that they managed to get, which is weirdly not a forgery. It was gotten illegitimately, but it actually has all the correct stamps. The writ of safe passage will probably work on everyone who is not Violethan himself. And from what you understand, he is currently on the moon. So you should be okay for the most part.
Okay.
Are you going to check in with any of your old contacts? Or are you trying to keep the lowest of low profiles?
I'm also trying to keep a low profile. I might just go to the marketplace and just see what's around. But mostly trying to keep a low profile in the city.
Alrighty. At the marketplace, of course, there is limitless things to acquire, which you'll probably do in a flashback later. So it's just good to have marked at this point in time. You have been to a marketplace. The markets have expanded into some new territories, one of which is that magic items are no longer like a rare, unique thing that, you know, took a wizard their entire lifetime to craft. The Guild of Applied Thaumaturgy has put small, single-use, low-impact, and, I mean, they're still kind of expensive, but relatively inexpensive items on the market. Things like pads you can put on your feet to run faster or climb up walls. Little globes you can throw at the ground that create a sphere of darkness temporarily. They're all, like I said, single use and yeah, not super impressive as far as like what a wizard could do, but they're there. and they have a lot of utility that was not previously available to you last time you were here.
Cool.
Yep. So some of these common items, although they are technically Daedic items, we are not going to consider them as being Daedic for the purposes of your flashback ability. So if you do need to flashback to acquire the basic utility stuff that's available now, we're adding that to the list of common items. While in the market, you do spot an old acquaintance of yours from the Thieves Guild. Last time you had seen this guy, he actually was running a racket in which he was making fake receipts for thieves to find in customers' safes, which were, the racket was, when a thief steals from a customer, if it's a legitimate like taxation theft, they leave a receipt. If they find a receipt in a safe they're going to steal from, they're not supposed to steal it. And so, obviously, there would be a market for fake receipts. And what this clever fellow had done is he had figured out that the Thieves Guild was giving thieves a reward, kind of a special bounty for finding fake receipts, identifying them as fake so that the merchant who was using a fake receipt could be punished. He began making fake receipts, meaning receipts that are meant to be found as fake and not actually pass muster, and was selling them to thieves for them to lie about having found in banks to get those bounties. It's one of those great, like, many-leveled cons that you have a lot of respect for.
Well, that's cool.
But right now, he is out in public, not hidden at all, and talking to a merchant about a receipt, and he appears to actually be, like, in guild regalia for public relations, and is acting as a legitimate Thieves Guild. I know that's a weird set of words, but he's acting as a legitimate Thieves Guild public relations agent in resolving a dispute over a receipt from a theft. So it looks like he's moved up in the ranks, basically. Probably because he had such an impressive con running. You reward talent when you see it, right?
Yeah. Well, fair enough. I'll just listen in on what he's doing, and if he notices me, I guess I'll engage in conversation. I'm trying to keep relatively low profile.
Okay. It's not immediately clear that he notices you, except that when he's finished with the merchant, and it was just a basic dispute over a theft and a receipt. When he's finished with the merchant, he begins making a classic, like, straight out of the textbook, Thieves Guild move to move out of your line of sight so he can sneak around and show up behind you. You know he's going to do it. Like, you can see him beginning the path. So obviously he did see you. He just was very good about not showing it. And you know exactly the route he's going to try and run to get around the tents and make it look like he's just showing up behind you like Batman.
Okay, I'm just going to pretend that I don't notice.
Okay. So you hear behind you his not quite stealthy enough footsteps until he stops, pants a little bit, because it did involve a bit of running, then straightens up and says in low voices, "Didn't think I'd see you back in town."
I turn and look surprised.
He looks completely nonchalant, like he hasn't just been running and panting. He also looks a bit out of shape, like the good life has been keeping him out of practice on some of the essential skills.
I look surprised, being snuck up on. Then I say, "Well, surprising to see you here. I'm just back in town for a little bit."
He grins from ear to ear. Good old Dasco. Can't imagine what kind of con you're running. Let's catch up. Can I offer you a drink? He gestures to a local bar.
I say, "Sure." Let's talk.
All right. The two of you head to a local bar. Meanwhile, Rorik, you have come to the Crimson Guard's headquarters. And one of the first things you immediately notice is that there is not a great many what you'd call able-bodied soldiers here. The war seems to have pulled the really good, high-quality soldier crop out, and what you have instead are some really old, aging, veterans that are training up a new crop of young recruits.
Gotcha. So their security is basically okay at best, most likely.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of old cats and then a lot of young blood that don't have a lot of experience.
Right. See, yeah. And the young blood, they definitely don't have a lot of experience, but these old cats, while they may not be as physically able as the youngins, they're flush with experience. They just can't necessarily make their bodies go through those motions anymore.
Yeah.
But their tactics and their strategies are pretty good. You do get to watch. There's a group that's outside doing an exercise with shields, where they're practicing using a kind of magic shield that projects a blast of force in front of it, and they're using it in a maneuver where they roll onto the ground and use the force to knock themselves up onto a high perch.
So how are they doing this?
So basically, they're rolling forward to get their shield down, pointed at the ground, and they're turning a key in the shield, which is causing a blast of force to come out of the front of the shield, which is now pointed down.
So it's the shield itself. Okay,
the shield itself, magically knocks them into the air with that blast of force, and they're practicing landing on a platform that's been elevated into the air.
You gotta get me one of those shields. Those things are cool.
The guy who's training them does spot you looking on and says, come to enlist?
Just to spectate. I do good physical feats.
Your city will be well protected.
Guard, right? This is the Crimson Guard, right?
Yes.
I've heard great things about the Crimson Guard, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Everyone's heard good things about the Crimson Guard.
Yeah, naturally they're admirable fighting force, and I butter them up,
Yeah, well, he's treating you like a citizen, saying your streets will be well protected, but at the same time, he is eyeing that belt of yours.
Yeah.
As you know, we normally require an invitation from a guildmate or special tryouts, but times being what they are, if you want to recruit, the army could use some good soldiers. Soldiers who know what they're up against.
Oh, I'm sure. I've seen my fair share of what's out there.
He nods knowingly. I bet you have. One of the kids seems to be particularly determined. And you notice this because they go to do their dive roll, and they turn the key, but the shield doesn't activate. And they finish the roll and come up ready to fight, even though there is absolutely no danger around them. The instructor interrupts his conversation with you, goes over and says, what happened? Because, I don't know, it didn't go off. He says, all right. And he hands the kid a small little, looks like a little glowing pearl. He says, here, use this. And the kid slots the pearls into a little thing inside the shield. And then he does the roll again, and it activates and knocks him up into it.
So that you needed fuel or something?
Yeah, so it looks to you like the shield, in order to use its magic, has an ammunition requirement. These little pearls that he's giving out to them are what allow the shield to trigger its abilities. Which means if you encounter one in the field, it will have a limited number of uses that the soldier using it can execute before it's...
know.
Yeah.
So it might be good in this case to use fakes as an opener to try to get them to expend charges early on in the encounter.
And if you can figure out how many charges they have, then once they're out, then you don't have to worry about those special effects anymore.
Am I allowed to continue looking on, or is it like?
Yeah, he's totally fine with this. He actually gives the students some instruction. Now that all of them are up on top of the platform, he tells them that in the surrounding exercise yard, he has hidden a number of flags. He tells them, I will not tell you how many flags, but for every flag you don't find, you'll be doing a lap around the building. He says, you have 30 minutes to prepare. He says, but if you decide to act early, once you begin, you have, and he looks over at an hourglass and says, until this runs out, to get as many flags in my basket as possible. He goes over and sits down, and you see immediately, like, the kids at the top are turning to that one student, the one who had the trouble with his key. And they're basically, like, he's taking a leadership position. He's clearly starting to gather them together and work out a plan. It looks like part of the point of the episode is to see how many flags they can get without the instructor noticing before he starts the timer. So the instructor is pretending to talk to you now while in reality his eyes are scanning the field, looking to see if any of the students have come down off the tower without him noticing.
Got it. How old is this guy?
This guy looks like he's probably in his 60s or 70s.
So I wonder if he's seen he's definitely been through. Would he have fought during the various demon incursions?
It seemed he probably was too old for the most recent demon incursion.
Yeah, but the one before that.
But the one before that, well, which wasn't exactly demons, it was Aphthis. But yeah, he was probably alive during some of the shit that went down in High Fort during the height of High Fort's misfortunes. However, he is Celebran, so he is very far from that. Yeah, it's not entirely sure he would have been involved.
Gotcha. I'll just, compliment him on his teaching and his recruits who seem to be doing really well and so on.
All right, he...
And see if any of them show any exceptional ability as well while I'm chatting. I'm observing them too, basically.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, he basically makes small talk with you until all of a sudden he turns and points at a student whose hand has grabbed a flag that was hidden behind a barrel of spare practice wooden swords. He says, I see you, and he turns over the hourglass, and immediately kids start jumping off the tower into action, beelining for flags that even you didn't see on some of them. But that one kid, the one who had his key hadn't worked at first, he lowers his shield and uses the force to actually rocket himself off the top of the tower, grabbing a flag that had been hidden on the roof of the training building. And you hear the instructor mutter under his breath, clever bastard. He never had a problem with his shield. He just pocketed the ammo.
That's funny.
Says, yeah, that kid has a lot of promise, but there's some darkness in him too. He's one of the ones that didn't come here from the tests. He came here from an instructor's recommendation. Drexel himself. And that's generally a problem. Because generally when Drexel has recommended a kid of that age, it's because Drexel killed some member of that kid's family. The kid tried to get revenge and couldn't take Drexel down. So Drexel sent him here to learn how to try to take him down properly. And that is going to end up as a sad story in the end. So my hope
so melodramatic.
My hope is we can try and wean him off the ideas of revenge while we train him.
That would be the better of the outcomes.
It would.
I assume this is not the first time this has happened, and
it is not.
Best of luck to your boy.
Thank you. He shows great promise. His leadership is excellent. And as we can see, he's willing to play tricks to win.
Well, when it's life or death, you must use every tool.
The last drop of sand leaves the hourglass, and he looks down and counts the flags. He says, 3 missing. And he walks around the facility and pulls out of various hidden spots 3 flags. He says, that's 3 laps around the building for all of you.
That's pretty good, though. 3's not that bad.
3's not that bad. And the building itself has a diameter that's probably about 2.5 miles. So they're going to get a good run in, but it's not terrible. It's good exercise.
Yeah. God.
No,
One lap is
circumference.
more than 2 miles.
Yeah, circumference is like 2.5 miles. Yeah. It's a bit.
Dude, I would
this
die.
is the most famous sword school in the world. It's a pretty big facility, but yeah.
Yeah, it's like a military academy, basically.
Basically, they're very selective about who they let in. They have a very strict process of qualifying, and then they have that other thing, which is that if one of their elite people gives somebody a special kind of token, that's basically them saying, I don't care what the qualifications say, this person needs to be trained. Which usually is harder to get than the regular admittance, but yeah, weird things happen sometimes.
For sure. Cool. That was a great intelligence gathering.
Yeah. As you kind of leave, you see that there's somebody else that was watching the proceedings as well. And it's someone you recognize from your past.
Is it Lyria? Fuck.
No, it's not. It is actually somebody that you fought with in the Demon Wars.
Oh, that's a relief.
Yeah, we'll have that panic attack later.
Tight.
Yeah, this is somebody from another company, but one that you did fight alongside of in Northern Talus when the demon invasions were occurring. You recognize her immediately. Like, there's not a lot of you left that survived all of that can really claim that kind of knowledge. Yeah. She does have a pretty horrific scar across her eye. It's like got a weird sort of purple tinge to it because there's sort of a war that went on to heal her between demonic corruption and the healing magics that's left this just weird discoloration over the scar. But yeah.
Is it like a thick scar? Is it like keloided or whatever?
So originally it was
or
a
is it
claw
just
mark.
discolored?
No, so originally it was a claw mark, but that the toxins from the demons spread into like a patch over the eye.
Ah.
But the healing magic made it so that she's healthy, but the patch is not going to ever go
The
away.
damage is still there, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Well, I greet her warmly then, since there's so few of us, you know.
She greets you and says, "Hey, we should go get a drink."
I agree.
And so you guys
To
go.
the you know,
to
it's
the
not
bar.
my best judgment, but let's go. You know.
Meanwhile, Barnabas, you are, I presume, in the clothing district.
Oh yeah, ready to have an epic costume montage.
Time for a montage. And in the middle of your costume montage, because you don't fully know what your costume is going to be yet, but you're getting, your basic materials set up. But yeah, in the midst of your purchases, I presume you're being relatively nondescript. I don't think anybody in this city really knows who you are, but yeah, you're going to be adopting a character soon, so the less public, the better. And yet, there's a tap on your shoulder as you're shopping, and a dwarf greets you warmly and says, "Well now, hello, fellow dwarf. Now, this is not it's not weird to see other dwarves here. This is like a really diverse city. So for this person to kind of greet you like they're finally meeting another dwarf in a foreign land is bizarre."
Interesting. By the way, I am generally always in some level of like disguise, just keeping my own identity under wraps, because that's just useful. All right. Well, I guess I'll greet them back. But I'm gonna act kind of like as though like I'm too busy for this right now. Like I don't have time for this. But like, what do you need?
Oh, but I think you do have time for me, Barnabas. Says just straight out says your name.
Oh no.
Don't worry. You're not in any trouble. Come on, let's have a drink. Let's sit down. Let's talk it out. It's good to be dwarves in the big city, yeah?
Do I recognize them at all?
No, but you're getting a feeling that this is a like government agent.
Would I not want? I feel like Barnabas would not want to deal with a government agent.
Depends on which government.
True. I'm not sure who this Barnabas fellow is, but I'm always a man for a drink. So let's. Yeah, I want to hear what you've got to say.
I know a quiet place. So he takes you to a bar, and basically you guys you get a back table in a shadowy, hidden kind of area of the back of the bar. It's very private. He just says, "All right, so I'm just gonna level with you because I'm not here to try and trick you or anything. I'm with the TIA. TIA is the Thordil Intelligence Agency. They're think CIA, but for dwarves. I'm with the TIA, and I'm here because there's an incident about to happen here, and I think you might be able to help us out."
I suppose there's always a price for everything.
Yeah, look, I know your history. I know you're into some, criminal stuff or whatever, but you know what my agency is. Like we're not about petty crimes. We're about big stuff, state level. And there's going to be a lot of treasure coming through the city pretty soon.
I'll act surprised.
Oh yeah, sure. Surprised. Whatever. It's fine. Look, here's the thing. I know you probably want to get your hands on some of it. That's okay. I don't have a problem with that. It's not my treasure you're stealing. But I really, really don't want, in fact, all of the West shouldn't want any of that treasure to get to Corlanth. We have reason to believe that there are members of Celebran High Society and absolutely members of Corlanth High Society that are collaborators with Apthis. And if this money reaches Corlanth, it could be used to fund mercenaries and other things that will help the Apthis war on their behalf. We don't want that. I think you can agree that would be a bad thing, right? That money should stay here with one of us. Or perhaps just rest at the bottom of the ocean. So I've got a little proposition for you. If you happen to be on board one of the ships shipping the money, and if you happen to help us sink that ship, we'll overlook whatever's in your pockets, and we'll add to it. The Thordil government recognizes that you are a dwarf, and therefore one of our citizens, no matter what country you choose to reside in, and we will absolutely support financially a citizen that does their civic duty to help stop the Apthian invasion by rooting out the core financial ability of them to recruit. To that end, if you'd like some explosives, we have some things arranged. We're not sure yet what ships they're going to take, but we're going to make sure that there are explosives on board those ships ready to be detonated, and if you can help out with that in any way that you can, Our agents will take note of that, and we'll make sure you're rewarded for it.
Treat brother.
Do you have any questions?
I guess you have yourself a deal.
I knew that you would fundamentally be a patriot. I really had a feeling about that. He smiles and he actually slips you a little bag of gold. You can add one. It's just a quality 1 bag of money, but basically he slips you some money. It's like, here, make sure you're well equipped. We'll be watching, of course, but help will never be far away. Ideally, we would like the treasure to go to the bottom of the ocean near a pirate haven. Half-Elven would be great, because that way anybody trying to get at that treasure will have to deal with pirates immediately attacking them for the treasure. It will be a wonderful distraction, and it will mean that the money gets redistributed into the Western mercenary economy, which will make them much harder for Aphthis to buy out.
Oh, don't worry. We'll make sure that the wealth gets distributed to the right people.
Oh, exciting. I had heard you had a bit of a team with you when you spent a day going from Thordil to Celebre.
It's good to have friends.
I'll bet. It's really good to have an agency. And he pays for another round of drinks, but doesn't stay to drink his. He just heads out of the bar, and you're brought another drink.
By the way, this means we're being actively surveilled to some degree.
Yeah, it means you've been actively surveilled since you arrived at Thordil. Which means they knew you went through Thordil to the moon and didn't stop you, and now they know you've come to Celebre and also didn't stop you.
Yeah, they already know. But I guess it doesn't hurt to have them on our side.
Fundamentally, they don't seem to want the money. They just want to make sure it doesn't get to Corlanth where Aphthis might be able to get it.
It's a brilliant military strategy, honestly.
Just sink it, and then nobody gets it.
I mean, we'll say we sunk it. I mean, that's what I plan on. Once I get
Oh
this
no, rogue mercenary sunk it.
Oh no! Oh, that's so good.
We're going to need to make sure we pick up a rowboat.
Charles, you are, you're in Celebre. Where would you like to be? I've mentioned before that there is a fantastic mage academy here, but also this is like one of the first cities to actually start mass manufacturing low-level single-use magic items.
I think Tice just stepped away.
Oh, oops, okay. Which brings us back up to Evitella. Is the yogurt disaster averted?
Yes. I don't know how I managed to get yogurt both in my hair and on the floor, but I did.
Alrighty.
It's impressive.
Tragic.
I told Jaws this, but I have the dexterity of a stone pile. So, yeah.
Evitella heads to the docks, but not the docks, like the nice docks. What you would call the pier.
Where it does not smell like fish.
Indeed. You don't see a lot of fishing activity going on here, although there is a boat that's getting ready to be loaded. As you kind of approach, you do see your uncle paying a young wizard and the wizard then casts a series of spells that creates some magic gloves. The dock workers then put on the gloves and began basically just single-handed lifting gigantic, incredibly heavy crates with absolute ease and carrying them onto a boat. This is a fairly common way for students of the university to earn some tuition money. Is they'll do jobs casting spells to enhance the ability of loading and unloading of ships.
I wouldn't say I found that way for later, but I think I probably already know how to do this.
You may know the spell, although you've never needed to make spare money down at the docks. It's never been part of your life experience.
Manually?
Yeah, this is the wizard equivalent of manual labor. Is you summon gloves of lifting for dock workers.
Yeah.
But for a lot of the kids, because the thing about magic is up until very, very recently, by which we mean like maybe within the past year, magic has been something that's kind of random, whether or not you could use it. In order to cast spells, or study magic at all, really, you have to be able to cast the cantrip, which is the sort of translation between your current mental state and how it affects the aether. Without that translation, there's no way for one mage to teach another a spell. And so anyone who's interested in magic just sits there meditating, desperately trying to figure out how to organize their mind into casting that spell. And because there was no way to teach it, because everybody's mind is different, it was completely random. So you managed to pull it off at some point in your youth, and that's how you were able to start learning magic. Now, within the past year, some tools have been invented that allow other people to see other people's mental states and actually help guide them. And so there's now some very, very expensive classes you can take that increase the chances of somebody who has good personal mental control of getting a cantrip that they might not otherwise achieve.
So cheating.
Basically, yeah. There's a way to cheat the system now. It does very much like hiring a wizard to summon gloves. You have to hire a wizard to cast a spell that lets them see your mental state, and then they try to guide you with basically like warm or colder about how you're thinking to try and get you to layer out the syllables of mental states you need to put yourself in the sequence and timing that is needed to ripple the ethereal plane in such a way that when the energies there meet those ripples, they pull themselves into reality in the form of the cantrip spell. And yeah. When did you learn to first cast cantrip?
It's a good question.
It's a question
Probably.
that your uncle asks you frequently, mostly because he's harassing your cousin about not knowing magic.
All right, so quite young, probably like 11 or 12.
Okay. So yeah, you do arrive in time to see uncle and cousin are there. Uncle's just finished paying the wizard for the loading services. Your cousin's about to get on the boat, and uncle calls out to you, the daughter I should have had.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. When you're done here, I'd like to speak to you. On your way out, stop by my office. I have something for you. And while you're talking, what is your cousin's gender, by the way? I don't know your family.
I barely know my family myself.
Hey, it's the best part of role.
This one will be male.
This one will be male? Okay. While you're talking to him, can you give him some hints on how to get started with this magic? We're paying a lot of money now to get him some classes, and he still hasn't gotten it.
You know, I know you love your son, but Duncan might be a lost cause on the magic front.
He shakes his head and sighs. Well, at least he's starting to get a sense for politics. So, taking the yacht out to Half Elven for some kind of charity benefit. It's going to be really good optics, good for the company.
Better him than me, I'll say.
And so he goes to his office, but he does like point at you and say like, "Come see me when you're done."
All right. So I guess I'll go over to my cousin.
All right, your cousin
Hey,
is up on the yacht, starting to get it ready to sail. Not like right
See,
away,
you've got-
away, but yeah.
Yeah. See, you've got the yacht for the week, month, whatever.
Oh, thank goodness. If I had to go to one more of those damned magic lessons, I was driving me crazy. I can't stand it.
You just need to apply yourself.
Oh my God, you sound like him now. My father's been just harassing me. I have to get away. Fortunately, he bought that whole thing about the charity event, and so I'm going to spend a month hanging out at the casinos in Half Elven.
Yeah, try not to gamble away the entire family fortune this time.
Oh, no, I have the hot ticket. I know which table to avoid. There's apparently somebody there that can't lose, and yeah, I'm just gonna stay away from that table. We'll be all right.
Yeah, clear run of luck, you know. I'm sure it will end.
I don't know. Way these guys talk, I mean, I'm interested to get the sailors' perspectives. I've mostly been talking to the other debutantes that are going to this charity thing, but they've been talking about it like it's magic. Like this person just supernaturally can't lose. Not like can't lose. Like they say, like he loses a hand every now and then, but like it's always just enough of a loss to make everybody bet more, and then he takes the pot. I'm betting there's some.
You know,
some
you really
skill
should
that's
apply. You really should apply yourself to these magic lessons. You might, you know, be able to take them toe to toe. You know, maybe you should have these magic lessons before you go, and that way you can win all the money while he thinks he's invincible. Wink, wink. Nudge, nudge.
I cannot tell you how much I despise sitting there with that damn teacher staring at my skull the whole time, saying,
Now,
think
come on
this,
now.
think that, be more angry, be more sad.
Come on now, Matilda's nice. You just have to follow her instructions.
He sighs. You're right. She's just doing what my father paid me for. It's him I'm really mad at. Why do I need to know magic when we can pay someone to cast it for me?
Well, you can't pay for everything that you might need. Although, given...
Which of my cousins am I talking to? Can't pay for everything? Who are you? Where's my real cousin?
I mean, like, there are some skills that, you know, I mean, I guess you could pay for them, but it would be really sketchy. And, you know, when you get to the next levels of politics, maybe you'll into politics. That's what you're into, right?
Oh,
You
well,
know,
that's
schmoozing around with
the
the
excuse
bureaucrats?
I gave my uncle, was this charity event. It's some kind of reconstruction thing from some explosion. I'm just going to, you know, show my face, make a good presence known. Hey, you should come with me. Then you can use your magic and we can win some cards.
You see, unfortunately, I've only stayed here for a couple days, you know, business.
Oh, you're working for the family business now?
Well, On the record, no.
Oh,
You know,
I better
see,
not
this is
know
what you
then.
could. Yeah, this is what you could have if you just applied yourself to your magic lessons and listened to Matilda. She tries really hard with you.
Damn, that's some low-key shade right there. She tries really hard with you, bro. Whoa. Oh my god.
He's
Can you
feeling
imagine?
he's feeling so much shame right now.
Yeah.
It's like, all right. When I
Vivian,
get
you're a
back,
fucking savage.
I will go back to the classes. I promise.
Yeah, there's a future in you. I believe in you.
So, what brings you here, anyways?
Well, you see, I kind of need this yacht that you have here.
Oh, cousin.
You know?
What? You need this yacht, or you just need a yacht?
I mean, a yacht would be
Then make one for the
tolerable.
day.
But I mean, this one has heated floors. How many yachts have heated floors?
It's true.
Yes, get it.
It's why I'm taking this one to the party. You know these charities get pretty wild in the after parties.
I do. I can assure you that I wish I could come on this charity event, but sadly, business calls. Yeah. You know?
Well, hey, if you are going to be out at sea and I happen to pass by, you need to flag down my my skipper and we'll share a glass here. You notice that pretty much all of the preparations he's been making to set sail had nothing to do with ropes and rigging and everything to do with making sure there's enough alcoholic beverage on this ship.
Hopefully it doesn't fucking capsize.
It would only be a minor loss.
Oh my god. Jesus. Evatala and Vivian, absolute savages. Just tearing that whole man's heart out.
So you're absolutely sure you could do without the heated floors. Like,
Absolutely. But if you're coming out to sea, why get another ship? Sail with me. Half Elven's not too far. Couple
gonna be our
days on the
getaway ship.
waves, and then it's gambling and partying. So I don't know if you've seen the map.
I've too opened up the map, yeah.
Yeah. So like Half Elven is literally the only destination from here that ships can make, because it's a straight channel through the harbor. It's a few days. Like, this is a huge space. But yeah, something to note about the size of the map. Talus is larger than Earth. This is because Talus is porous. It does not have a liquid core, and so, but the gravity is about the same. So that mass is actually spread out over a larger volume, which means a larger surface area. So it's a pretty huge place.
I mean, tell you what, obviously, like, I have to go much further than half Elven, unfortunately. For this one, this is long distance affairs. But just in case that something happens early, I need to flag you down. Why don't we agree on a signal?
Sounds perfect, my cousin. I will always be ready to have you on board to party.
All right. So, you know, I will set up some sort of magical flare. If you see that, direct the ship towards it.
Will do. And if you get to Half Elven and you need to find me, and he tells you where the party's going to be. It's a charity event for Half Elven a little while back. I don't remember how many years. Actually, it might have been less than a year. There was an explosion in both the city and this sort of underwater magical laboratory that was over there, and it really caused a lot of damage. Fortunately, there were very few casualties. Some people were on hand that saved a lot of lives, but it did cause a lot of physical damage, and so reconstruction has been spotty and mostly centered around the main sources of revenue for the town, which is piracy and the gambling establishments. So getting things like the public library back up has been a low priority, which is why this charity event is happening.
Okay. I'll be asked by touches to steal this boat once we get to Half-Elven.
It does have the heated floors, after all.
Yeah. Who needs a rowboat when you can have a yacht with heated floors?
Okay. And then, on your way out, after agreeing on the signal, your uncle is waiting in his office.
Yeah. I'll sigh and head in.
Cool. So switching back over to Dasco. Dasco, you have sat down with your friend, who I don't have a name for, but he's Thieves Guild, so very often those names are lies anyway. And he's probably going to have a new one by the time the day is done. He buys you a drink, sets it down, and says, well, don't suppose I could ask you why you're in town?
I'm just traveling, passing through, looking for opportunities, as you know. Anything new with the guild? How's it working the honest thieves guild trade?
Says I gotta be honest, I thought they were setting me up when they gave me this promotion, but it has its benefits. The number of times people try to bribe me a day is really just very encouraging. He did raise his eyebrow very slightly when you said you were looking for opportunities. Actually, there is a bit of an opportunity for an enterprising person, but I don't know. I just don't know if you're the kind of person that I could rely upon for such a thing. I
shrug and say, fair enough. I say, I've got a couple of opportunities lined up on my own, actually. So I'm pursuing those. But I could be persuaded to take an interest in other opportunities if they're worth my time. The thing I got lined up is pretty lucrative.
Oh, I imagine. Of course. Yeah, pretty lucrative. And honestly, the job I've got, like, I could pay you for it. I could make it worth your time. Well, you know, I got to make sure we're on the level here. I got to make sure, and then he just like looks straight at you and suddenly gets serious. Like, I got to make sure you don't try and give me something fake. I would know if you brought me a fake document.
I put my hand over my heart and say, I am hurt. I'm hurt. I'm hurt. I mean, I would do that to other people, but not to you.
He sighs, leans back, says, you know, this war is gonna make things crazy for us. We're supposed to be a civilian operation. We're not supposed to be dealing with this international politics nonsense. You know, we have agents infiltrating other cities now? Like, what is that? This is all right. Here's the score. I'm just going to pretend that it's news to you that a shitload of treasure is about to come rolling through the city. And absolutely, we as the Thieves Guild are going to tax it. That's how it goes. The thing is, though, is when we tax it, we gotta tax the money, and that's not really what we want. Inside this shipment are documents worth more than any of the rest of that money combined. In particular, there is a list. It is, shall we say, leverage against some very wealthy, very powerful people. It's leverage because it's a list of collaborators. So that the official word is reason some of the rich people aren't getting the plagues is because they could afford the better magic potions. And yeah, there's a whole social thing about like magic potions for all, creating a whole public system of healing and such. And I'm sure that those measures will do whatever they're going to do. But the truth of it is, we suspect a lot of these guys are actually not getting sick because they've made a deal. And we don't know what those deals are. And Violithan in particular, I know you've got bad history with him, and your name does not have to come up, and that's completely okay. I'm fine with that. But we, as a city, as Thieves Guild, and as, people who like being alive and not enslaved by Apthus, would really like to know who those collaborators are. So, if you give me that list, we're willing to really put some financial incentive into that, which I know you're interested in. I just gotta stress so hard here that if you try to fake that list, I will know. He doesn't bother to actually threat what he'll do. He just says he'll know.
I shrug and I say, I got no interest in faking a list of people I hate. Also, I just want to put the record straight. Violenthan and I, nothing wrong between us. He wants me alive. So we're okay, as far as I can tell. That's all right.
All right.
Some of my companions, not so much.
And you got to look out for your crew. I respect that.
I shrug and say, yeah. You got a new crew now.
He shrugs and says, well, you look out for some of your crew anyway.
So how do you know about this shipment? I mean, that's a silly question. You know about everything that comes through here. I'm interested in where your intel is coming from, though, and how you know about this shipment. Because I might have some information, actually. I'm also pretty good at gathering details, as you probably remember.
Well, as I have lamented, we now have agents in other cities. So I'm getting, bits of the grapevine are running their roots deeper than they used to. But yeah, Mining Cooperative took a hit, and they took a hit hard. And I ain't pointing fingers at where and what that comes from, but I know that they're still deep into trying to run their operation. Gaston is dead, and that's a thing that maybe put a stop to some of his weird experiments. Maybe not. Who knows? But yeah, their political influence is worrying. And in particular because they would have known about all these collaborators and not done anything about it. Like they're just using the money to control these people instead of getting them to stop collaborating permanently with daggers.
If you had a nation state worth of money and you wanted to get it away from Celebre, would your first choice be to bring it through Celebre?
No. No, it would not. It's weird.
I scratch my beard and I say, interesting, as if I know something.
But here's, I guess, part of their problem is that about half of that treasure was already here. I don't know. I don't know what would have been worse. Had they taken that north, where would it have gone? It's a little worrying where they're taking it. We'll see.
I just kind of shrug and I say, I mean, if it were me, I would have probably, I might have taken it to a different port, just sailed around. If it were me. Maybe a free port. I mean, there is a free port. Stilge is just on the west of the Middle Kingdom.
You thinking that maybe they have a reason for coming through those waters? I mean, they got to pick up the other half, and that other half has been sitting here in Celebre all year, just getting added to by all their.
And the documents that you need are useless if they're taken to some other place, like let's say Corlon, for example, if that were a place that it was going, in theory, right?
In
And so,
theory, yeah. Being in Corlanth, those documents are they're only useful for threatening to reveal them.
yeah, and in Corlon, nobody cares; it's too far away. So the documents need to be local.
And
And I suspect.
we know that Corlanth is doing business with Athos openly. They're not even hiding it.
So I think those documents are in that caravan.
I agree. That is my assessment.
I think that money you're taxing, long gone. Except the part that was retained here.
It's possible it's either long gone or it's being used as a distraction.
Agreed. Well, I'm not interested in the documents, but I am interested in money. So I'm more interested in the distraction, but it seems you're more interested in the documents. So I think maybe we can work together on this.
I feel like we can.
So I'll let you in on a little secret. My crew right now is looking to. Let's just say there's some covert Corlanthi diplomats. They arrived in Celebre a few days ago. They're going to be meeting up with the caravan, making arrangements. I don't think there's money in the caravan. I think the money sailed out of Satilja a few days ago, and they're going to meet up somewhere in Armistice. But it'd be really useful if those Corlanthi diplomats were friendly.
Interesting. I think we can. I think we can organize on this presumption.
So
are the diplomats? Are they now in the Corlanthi embassy?
no, they're of course these diplomats are coming here to take possession of some items in a potential way that might cause a stir. So they're not going to come through the embassy, but we can find them. And the best thing about them is that they're covert. So the mining cooperative guys never even met them, don't even know what they look like. And they're Corlanthi, so they could be anybody. They can come from anywhere. They can have any accent you want, be any race, species, anything.
All right. So you're
gonna say, hell, I could be one of them.
You're a good grocer, but you're no smith. But I imagine you've got someone in mind for the job, eh?
Several, yeah.
All right. What do you need here? You need a beekeeper? Is that my job here?
You get me and my crew on that ship. You get those guys detained quietly, and you get us an audience with the. You get us the. We'll take care of getting the proper audience with the caravaneers, and you get that shipment moving out of here quickly. Get it through the courts. I know that's going to take some time. Just streamline that process, and I will guarantee you that we'll get you your papers. I can't guarantee anything about the money, but I can guarantee that you'll get those papers.
All right. We'll need a way for you to signal me when you're ready for the courts to suddenly become a slip shoot instead of a blockade.
We don't want to give Coralon too much time to catch on. The embassy will certainly know that their agents have been detained at some point.
Yeah, I just want to make sure you've got time to get your guys in position before everything gets cut loose. Honestly, they're probably going to try and move it without even waiting for the courts to process it. Rights and Properties Guild, of course, is going to want to get their word in on it, but they don't really have a claim to anything there, so that shouldn't be a problem. The Thieves Guild has the best claim to the property, which is taxation, of course.
Sounds like these documents will let you do some taxation in general.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't speak for everybody in the organization, but I'm pretty sure the higher-ups will agree getting those documents is more important than taxing the revenue. If we have to skip out on that, the documents are what we want. We need to know who the collaborators are above all else. All right, we have an agreement then. I'm gonna make some conversations happen. We're gonna get some stuff organized in the courts to make sure that the timing is right for you, and I'll be seeing you.
Be watching for you.
All right, and he stands up and pays for your drink, which is something this guy has never done in his life. It's almost shocking that he's paying for your drink. This is one of those guys who, much like you, is not even used to paying for his own drinks. It seems like the situation has shaken him a bit, and you get that feeling that like he's a little bit desperate, and otherwise probably wouldn't have been talking to you, would have tried to do something himself. But yeah, wartime really drains resources. All right, moving on to Rorik. You are also in a bar.
With an old compatriot, I assume.
Indeed.
Would I know this character from other characters interacting with her or no?
Probably not, but you might know her from like sort of a little bit of mercenary work on the side. Let's see. Her name is Delia Lev, and she did work with the Shrouded Wolves and previously with the Mordicans. So pretty high profile.
She's an OG.
She's an OG high profile combat lady, and has a
So someone I
history
would look up to for sure.
for sure. Yeah,
An esteemed colleague.
an esteemed colleague indeed. And you guys may or may not have literally fought demons side by side. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely know her from the wars.
For sure.
She buys you drinks. What brings you into town?
Just looking for work.
Yeah, work is a thing. Kind of work people like us are used to is mostly happening in the north and east.
Sure is. It's pretty gnarly out there.
You giving up the blade, or still running with that life?
Level of column A, column B. Trying to figure out how much longer I can do this, really.
Is this Delia?
Yes.
Okay.
So, well, security work is good work. I tell you, I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. I am, on the clock here, like running a job. I saw you scouting the security. Did you learn anything that might be good for me?
Nothing you probably didn't already see yourself.
Sharp eyes. Got to keep them sharp.
Absolutely. Looks like they have some promising recruits.
Looks like, yeah.
So what kind of job are you on?
Security detail. Pretty high profile, too.
That's a job of your caliber, I am sure.
Yeah, they got a lot of people working this one, so I'm actually pretty glad to be on board. Even with the split, the money's good. I tell you what, though, I would not mind having somebody from the old guard, somebody I know I could trust around. You You gonna be in the area for long, or is your job gonna keep you busy and tied up?
Probably gonna be busy and tied up.
Damn shame. But it's good for you. I got no
Yeah, it
shade
keeps
on
me
that.
busy, you know.
Just a shame for me. Would have been nice to have someone around that I knew could handle a blade.
Likewise, I'd love to work with you.
Well, thank you for the drink, and if I see you in the field, I know I can count on you to help me out.
I'd give her a little cheers.
Cheers to you as well. You guys probably have some more drinks and sing songs about old battles before ending the evening.
Mm-hmm.
Barnabas. We've actually pretty much ended your encounter, I think.
He
Now
still
we can
has
get
hair.
back to shopping.
Yep. Shopping montage.
Barnabas takes his costume collecting very seriously.
Which pulls us back around to Charles.
Howdy.
My co-author here is occupying my push-to-talk mouse hand.
She's smart. She's like, I can get chin scritches right here.
Yep.
I decide when you get to talk.
Who owns who, really, in this relationship?
There we go.
You feed her, you let her put her chin on your mouse hand, you pick up her poo-poos. I think she owns you, man.
As someone who has 3 of them, I am definitely owned.
Yeah. She's so sweet.
Yeah. To think that 3 years ago she was a little refugee on the streets.
She's living it up now.
Yes, she is. And she's being very calm with all the explosions.
I know. Parker's being pretty chill too. Thank God. He might just be used to it because people just explode fireworks all the time, all year round. Here where we live.
Like literally our next door neighbor shoots off fireworks multiple times during the week. Like I can see them right outside of our window.
And dude, they're like mortars.
It sounds like a bomb going off.
Yeah, they like hiss on the way up and then explode.
Speaking of explosions, Charles, you're near a magical university.
Yeah.
So what would you like to do? The university itself probably has a lot of spells available. They are one of those types of universities that's all about sharing knowledge. Additionally, there is a local industry of magic artifact creation. Generally the kind of like cheap mass-produced artifacts. Did you want to explore one of those?
I think I'll explore the magical school. Maybe pick up a couple tricks or two to help with this with their plans.
Okay. So the university is well, it does have an admission process for getting into classes, and obviously, like, classes cost money. The libraries themselves are open to anyone, but also the area out in front of it has quite the little industry. Students basically hawking their services for casting spells in exchange for money. Minor spells, things that help out a shopkeeper or Yeah, summon some little like temporary magic thing.
Some
that'll make
sorcerer's
life easier.
apprentice shit, dude.
Yeah. It's not high level magic, but it's magic that they're selling to the community to make some pocket change so that they can enjoy some luxuries while they're at school. The library is open, and you can just walk on in.
Of course I shall.
Your outfit does get some looks, but they're not like suspicious looks. They're actually like impressed looks. Like, hey, nice robes. That's a cool looking hat.
I'll do like how every person like takes compliments. I'll just give them a weird look and then just walk away.
Hey, what's that gnome's problem? I don't know. He had a nice robe, though. Very wizardly. The library actually has multiple librarians, so you can fly down one of them if you need help looking around. Yeah, this is a pretty significant place of learning. The architecture looks very fresh. These are new buildings in very modern style. This is not an ancient center of learning. This is like a very new looking building, which is you've known that there's been an ancient center of learning here for a while, but there was a disaster that destroyed the old building. So this is their new building. A lot of the construction on the ground level, though, is completely finished, so it looks really nice. There's just some stuff at like the tops of the towers and in the back that's still being worked on.
Yeah, of course. Let's see here. Thinking of probably looking at for more advanced magic, like how to like summon your own skeleton crew and like a few other things like that, like, or even just a bit more like what are they called? Like enchantment sort of magics.
All right. So for higher level stuff, the library doesn't have like literally spells. Instead, what it has is lots of books on magical theory, the kinds of things you would use to create your own spells. Because it is a place of learning. The idea is to teach these kids how to invent their own spells and how to understand the mathematics behind spellcasting. There are some study groups here in the library, so you could introduce yourselves to one of those. They do appear to be students based on their matching robes. There is also a section the librarians indicate to you for basically high-level necromantic theory.
I guess I'll go check out the high-level necromantic theory. Yeah.
Okay. There's a lot of books here, just a significant number of books. And there is what appears to be a skeleton man in robes, what you would presume is a lich, placing a book onto a shelf before walking away. Necromancy may not be like forbidden here. It might actually be something that is encouraged and studied.
Like a quick look at what book he put back up there, and I was like, it's always good to see someone in a fellow person in the field.
Given that his face is a skull, you're not sure if he's smiling or not, but he does nod to you before continuing on his way. Or her way. It's really hard to tell with skeletons.
Yeah, you think he's smiling, but he's actually upset.
Could be. There's no way to know. Yeah, so the book that was just put back was a book on, basically it's a book on souls. Not about animation, but about the interrelationship between souls and magical energies of different types. The the book actually looks to be pretty new. There's every indication that you may have actually just met the author, and he was putting his own book onto the shelf, having finished writing it. It seems to be talking about something called Type 2 and Type 3 interactions with souls.
Sweet. I think I'll borrow that book too. I'll grab that book, but with a few other books of like skeleton crews and such.
Okay. You find that a lot of the older books are more stuff that you're used to. They have the symbols that match up with your understanding of using cantrip to identify like spell phrases and components and things. And they talk a lot about the math of how to make components fit together. But the newer books seem to be talking a lot about energy in types. They talk about Type 1, Type 2, and Type 3 energy and their interrelationships. And that's confusing, as you have no experience with those terms. At this point, if you'd like to invent a spell, you can make a roll to see if you can invent it. Or if you'd like to pursue the mystery of the energy types and this new notation, you could start asking around about that.
I could attempt to invent a spell. I haven't actually invented a spell in a while.
Did you have one in mind you were trying to research?
Well, the first one I was thinking of was sort of like skeleton crew.
Okay, so skeletons specifically to operate a boat. Is that correct?
Yeah.
All right. So one of the first things that you sort of challenges you come upon is if they're going to literally be skeletons, you will need there to be sufficient number of bones to assemble them out of on the ship. Is that a deal breaker, that you need to have the bones present, or do you want to try and invent a spell that's more like a ghost crew?
I could do something with it, sort of with ghost crew, and like sort of like dealing with souls and stuff, something I can use.
If you decide to deal with souls, then you would need to be able to literally pull souls out of the negative material plane, which is, it's a thing. It happens. It's pretty high level, so it takes a lot of energy, but that's a thing you could set up. If you're just going to do animation of skeletal parts, or if you're going to do a non-sentient, like a mage hand kind of spell that's meant for operating rigging, that is less intense than forcing unwilling souls to do your bidding. But again, if it's the pile of bones, which is a really good option, it does require there to be bones.
The only thing is, it does require them to be out of the bodies, out of the dead bodies first, or not?
Technically, no, and they don't even have to be human bones. You can, as long as there's sufficient a mass of bones, you could assemble them into the shapes of crewmen out of whatever the bones are. Bones will carry enough necrotic energy on them for you to bind them to the spell.
How much higher level would it be for to use currently being used bones?
Well, if using bones means that it's a lower level spell.
No, I meant like the bones that are in people's bodies already.
If the people are alive, then that is incredibly high level and is not even necromancy because they're alive. But if they're dead, then that's pretty easy. That's if there's still flesh on the bones, it's a zombie. Otherwise, it's a skeleton.
Yeah, then I guess like as long as they're dead, I'll.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your skeleton crew may or may not consist of some number of zombies, depending on the condition of the bones. All right, go ahead and make let's see, what is it? It's a scholarship. I'm gonna pull up the rules on spell invention. Oh, did the talents for esoterics get moved? Are we calling them potential talents now? Okay. Esoteric potential, I got it. All right, I found it. Oh, requisite research and experimentation takes 1 month per rank. I think we're going to speed that up a little bit. This feels to me like a third circle kind of spell. I don't know. I haven't just done the math. I'm just kind of like gut instinct. Because it's an entire crew, right? You're crewing an entire ship from skeletons.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I'd say this is third circle. Do you have the esoteric research talent?
I do not.
All right, so basically you need to spend time in the library studying. For every appropriate amount of time, you're going to make a focus plus scholarship roll. And you need a total of 9 successes to learn this between all of those rolls. So if you don't get enough successes now, then you'll have a chance to make another roll later to make progress towards it.
Okay, so you said, was it focus scholarship?
Focus plus scholarship, yes. And you may add 4 pips because this is a very good library. All right, so that's 4 successes. You'll need 5 more to complete the spell, but you've got a good start on it. As an interesting aside, you think there might be a way to further advance it into a 4th circle spell that includes the ship as part of the enchantment. So you could take a sunken ship and raise it and its crew together. But that would be like a 4th circle stuff. All right, well on your way. And presumably you spend the rest of the day here, or did you want to do any further investigation while you're studying?
Probably investigation more on the souls thing, as well as probably see if there's if anyone
All right. So asking around, you do find that the students are actually really excited about this new phase of magical theory with multiple energy types. Apparently, what they're calling Type 1 energy is what you're used to using. It's just magic, as you know it. Type 2 is something like basically outside of magic that you're not completely sure you understand the math behind, but it seems to follow similar rules to magic, except that it doesn't obey what you want. Instead, it's energy that decides what it wants. And then there's this third kind of energy, they call it Type 3, which appears to just create random noise in spells. For your purposes, you don't find the two types particularly interesting, but what the students are really excited about is that apparently understanding them allows for humans to cast spells of 6th circle and above, which has been previously kind of unheard of. Now, as a gnome, that's not like something you super worried about. Your people have always been able to cast high circle magics. But for the humans here, it's really exciting that this new understanding is removing a barrier to casting that used to be there. One of the students in particular, who's been very helpful, suddenly has to leave. It's like, oh, shoot, I'm late. She has an appointment to try to help somebody become mage. So lots of the students are doing these little after school odd jobs. It's in that conversation that you find that while these new spells are really interesting, they seem to be pretty ubiquitous. This new toolkit spell, which apparently one of the professors here invented. It's a spell that, when cast, lets the user see the syllables that other people are using in their casting. And that spell is just written down in a book. You could go copy that spell if you wanted to.
Sure. Because just in case if there's someone that's going against us, I might be able to help myself to defend against it.
Yep, you'd be able to see what they're casting as they're casting it, if you have this enchantment on you. It's a fairly complex enchantment. It's got a lot of moving parts, but it's really low energy. So it's a first circle spell that you inscribe into your spell book.
All right.
And of course, trying it on for the first time, you see not only kind of the syllables of other people that are practicing magic around you, but magical items, especially the glow out front, start lighting up with information about them. Apparently the spell has some other effects that provide information about things you're looking at that are magical.
Yeah, this might be able to help me further expand my stopwatch that I do not fully got unlock its potential.
Yep.
Also,
And-
I think we have some magic items, or at least Avatala does, that we don't know too much about.
Yes, that's true. Evatala, you do actually know the toolkit spell, probably, I think. Actually, I don't know. That's up to you. It's something that has been a standard part of teaching for improvisational magics, because the inventor of the improvisational style was also the inventor of that spell.
In that case, probably. I'm just going to take the time to use it.
And you mostly
I assume
improvise.
she's like, I assume Evatala's like formally educated, yeah, like.
She didn't complete her education because it was boring and crime is more fun. but she's pretty well off in the education department.
She did steal some books.
Yeah, that too.
So on the one hand, she's not like super welcome at the university, but on the other
I
hand,
didn't ask if she was graduated or
Yeah.
if she had a degree.
On
I
the
said,
other
is she
hand-
formally educated? And the answer in this
the
case
knowledge
sounds
in
like
those
a
books
yes.
is useful, right? The knowledge in those books you stole was useful, so you have some good knowledge.
She's not welcome at the university, but she
Yeah,
wouldn't
yeah.
be turned away if she showed up. But that's more to do with the name rather than. Yeah.
So looking at your spell that you're starting to create with the toolkit on, Tice, you start to realize there might actually be something to this type 2 energy and the way that it interacts with souls. Referencing the necromancers, or the lich's little treatise that he just put down, there might be ways to kind of interact interdimensionally to get things a little bit better optimized for your spell. But to do that, you're probably going to need something to test it on. And I don't just mean corpses. You need an interdimensional space to experiment on. Basically, you need a bag of holding, or any other equivalent interdimensional space to run your tests on. If you can find one, then you might have enough information to finish the spell today without having to do additional research.
Yeah, definitely need to go out for a hunt for a bag of holding then.
All right, so out on the streets in the market, there are vendors that are selling basically like cheap magic stuff. It's generally single-use stuff. Bag of holdings are not cheap. They're kind of expensive, and you don't see a lot of them here, but there are some lots of artisans out here that are hawking their wares. You might be able to talk to some of them.
Yeah. I guess I'll go to one of the artisans to see more about them.
Okay. You can go about this one of two ways. You can make a resources check to see if you can find somebody that's actually selling one, or you can make a connections check to see if you can find somebody who has the skill to make one for you. Which route would you like to go?
I think I'm gonna go connections route. Just better.
Cool. Put those dice down. Let's see what you find. Well, the dice don't lie. You don't find anybody that knows how to do it. You do hear some rumors. There's definitely somebody in town somewhere, but you're just not able to find them. You might have to regroup with your team and share that information. But yeah, somewhere in the city, somebody knows how to make these. You just couldn't find them. And I think, unless anybody wants to... oh yeah, Avatala. We got to talk to your uncle. That's the last thing. I think that's the last thing. Yep, everybody else hit their check marks. Okay, your uncle. As you step into his office, which is really the entirety of the building, it's a little dockside building where he and your father have been running the business. Your father is actually not here right now. You would know that he's doing a lot of... because your family business is shipping, Your father is doing a lot of work with shipping supplies to the front lines of the war, which is, of course, a huge market right now. And so there's a lot of money in that. And that's what your father's doing, while your uncle is kind of taking the back seat and running the other aspects of the business while your father's away. But your uncle is glad to see you, motions you in. Says, I hope you talk some sense to that boy.
I gave it my best shot, but
That's all I can ask.
you know, Duncan.
But you know, I didn't just call you my favorite niece over here to talk to him. I do have something else going on the side, something that may be up your alley.
Go on.
So it turns out that the one of the other guilds, the mining cooperative, you may have heard of them, they got into some trouble recently and are moving a lot of money through the city. And they need somebody to load it onto their ships. They're going to need it done quiet. They're going to need it done quick. And those bastards at the fishing guild have the contract to do the loading, not us. This is absolutely a violation of our guild agreements. I'm very angry about this. But here's something I think you might be able to help me out with. You recall the... let's see. Let me find her name. You recall Lady Samantha Peregrine Bladsworth?
Do I recall?
You may or may not. So, Samantha Peregrine is the sister of one of the
Sister of arch enemy.
Yeah, sister of your arch enemy. She remarried, so she's hyphenated her name. Or she married and was widowed, but now controls the Bladsworth fortune, and is kind of doing her own thing, independent of the mining cooperative, because she managed to marry into, and then, I mean, we're not, in polite society going to say be rid of her husband, but her husband is no longer alive, and so she's running that fortune. Doesn't really need the mining cooperative, is kind of in her own thing, but, family's family. And anyway, your uncle wants you to go and talk to her and see if you can plant the idea that the fishing guild can't be trusted. But your uncle says, I'd like you to be, I know your father may or may not approve of this, but I'd like you to be a little bit sneaky about this. I want you to get the idea that they can't be trusted, but not so heavy-handed that they actually give us the contract. I know, sounds weird, but hear me out. I'm thinking long-term. Sure, we get this contract, make a lot of money. And if that happens, that's good. No pressure on you. If you do convince her, that's great. But if you just plant the seed, but they aren't convinced, I've hired a couple guys to steal some stuff from the shipment. And when that happens, and it's found out that happens, you'll be proven to have been right, that they couldn't be trusted. And then we're going to be on the up and up and getting better contracts going forward.
I like the way you think.
I thought you would. I knew I could count on my favorite niece.
Yeah, I could go have a talk with her.
That's all I ask. Go have a talk, give it your best try. This is a win-win. So no matter what happens, we come out on top. But ideally, I'd like it if they just become suspicious of the fishing guild, and then we can confirm their suspicions. I think that would be the optimal strategy.
Yeah, I think this could work out well for the family business, particularly if something disastrous was to happen.
Me too. And so, smiling, he escorts you to the door, and and you're on your way. And this is where we're going to close it out for the evening. So we're at 11:45.
One thing I would like to ask in a sort of meta sense is if you could ask him what team he's hired to do this, because we can just pin it all on them, and it's going to be great.
See,
Do you want
good
to ask?
call. Yeah, I'll ask.
He says, it's just a couple of dark-yard thugs. They're just going to pocket as much as they can.
Wait,
This
I think-
you will.
Sorry. Just a couple of dockyard thugs. They're just going to pocket as much as they can, so that the shipment comes up light. He's not planning to rob the entire shipment. He wants to cause enough damage to discredit the fishing guild. I'm leaving them their discretion as much as they can carry, of course.
Yeah.
And they are utterly expendable.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll just turn that a little light to completely emptied out and turn that
Yeah.
shit to 11.
But bottom line is he doesn't tell you their identity because, the less you know, the less culpable you are.
Except I plan on making myself quite culpable.
But yeah, he
But
says,
also, the less he knows, the less culpable he is.
don't you worry about who they are. They're just some thugs off the street of no consequence.
Yeah. And if they take too much, all the better.
Exactly. I knew you had the right kind of head for this business.
Well, that's why I'm here, and my cousin is going to a charity event.
I feel like if you got through to him and if he can pick up this mage stuff, it's really going to help out the family.
I at least
Thank
did
you for
get
that.
a commitment to come back to lessons afterwards.
I hope that works out. I feel like I'm spending way too much on that woman.
Oh man, I almost wanted to get rid of them.
Get rid of who?
Oh, I thought that was a connection when that one person in the group I was talking to, they're like, "Oh, I'm late for something," and I was like, "Is that the same person?"
Probably. But the cousin in particular is not taking classes today because he's about to sail off to a big old charity event over in Half Elven.
Excuse to get drunk away from the family.
Yep. And engage in their magnificent gambling establishments. Alrighty. So yeah, that's what I have for the evening, and hopefully we will resume with more of the crew available next week. We'll talk more about this, about maybe shifting the day to Saturday as well. We'll talk about that in Discord later. But for now, closing ceremonies.
I'm going to immediately award a point to Vivian for savagely destroying her cousin. You just dragged him. It's good shit. Tice, I believe, is on the trail for our bag of holding, if I'm not mistaken. So excellent. That is a crucial part of our plan. That's kind of the plan currently. Let me see. I feel like everybody got some back alley deals. Like everybody is side hustling this particular job, it feels like. So points to everybody for dealing with your particular vector of side hustle for this particular job that we're already on. Because I'm pretty sure that's what happened to Dasco. He's get chatted up by his Thieves Guild guy. And then Barnabas got hit up by the Thorodel guy. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's in on this job already. This is too big of a score. So good luck, everyone, on your various back alleyway deals. I was the only one who was like super strict NDA. I kept it professional. Although actually, I think Dasko probably didn't give up too much either.
None of you really gave up too much, but a lot of you were
Yeah.
talking to people that already knew a lot.
Right, like it's like, ugh.
But yeah, you straight up declined your offer. That was what made yours a little different.
Gotta keep it professional.
Tice's thing is still a little mysterious, exactly what's going on over there. But yeah, once
Yeah.
you find the bag of holding thing, we'll start to open that up.
The bag of holding. But yeah, I like to get a point to each one for like echelon for always trying to act like he's always knows what the bigger picture is, even when sometimes he doesn't know what the bigger picture is. To Shifty for their shopping montage. You know, always got to be looking your best. Of course. I don't think Rav has any more cousin. I think that cousin is dead. You know, like that painful. You know, oh, you do so well if you just tried. You know, like that ever works.
Everyone, please look at this gift that's in the Talus chat.
Sneak peek into next session.
This is Barnabas taking his little catwalk, walking down the street.
Yeah, I totally forgot that we actually needed the bag of holding.
Yeah,
Essential.
How that guy.
I do technically have one, Barnabas does, but I don't know if it's enough.
It will be quite slow going if we have one back.
Also, part of the plan was to get the mining cooperative to pay for the bag of holding themselves. That was part of what Chris was trying to do. He didn't want like you guys to actually pay for it. He wanted to convince them to buy one because they are kind of expensive.
I was going to say having a decoy one could come in handy at some point in the future, like
Very
the
much
briefcase.
We got contingency plans, y'all.
Tice, did you get to everyone you wanted to give to?
Yeah. Oh, and also just thought of something. If I'm able to raise a ship from the dead, or wherever, we might be able to sink the ship and then go back for it later.
We just have to beat all the other pirates that are going straight for that spot. That's the only... I mean, I love this plan. Ooh, it could be a good distraction. If we leave, we already have the treasure, and we raise this ship from the dead. Everyone's going to be like, whoa, what the fuck is going on?
When do we start playing Sea of Thieves?
When do we start playing Pirates of the Caribbean?
Same thing.
Yeah, same thing. Officially the same thing.
All right, I'll give out my points. A point to Viv for getting us our getaway boat, hopefully. Or I don't know how we'll use it, but maybe we'll use it to get away.
It does have heated floors.
Leaving in style. Point to Jackie for gathering intel. A point to Tice for the skeleton crew. I'm looking forward to that ship emerging from the sea to help us out. And a point to Ed for keeping scheming alive. Just Dasko always being dastardly.
Yeah, awesome. So, Dice for making a new spell. That's potentially very useful for us. That's good. Vivian, the discussion with your uncle was hilarious and awesome. So that's just generally good. I liked your uncle. I hope that they'll be with us for a while. Jackie for having to deal with Delia and being being strong in that regard. You guys are kind of pros. And then
Just like Ripley, it's like that picture from Full Metal Alchemist of the two buff guys like grasping each other's arms. Like,
yeah, you guys are both like just seasoned, grizzled veterans, right? I mean, so and then Kristen for just like everyone was just kind of hustling and trying to get stuff to make things better. Just you focused on getting stuff that was actually going to be useful in the future. I, to my credit, tried to get stuff that was useful. My original intention was to be like, yeah, we're going to steal that stuff and split it 6 ways. Can you make me a better offer? And that was going to be my initial thing. But then I decided, nah, I like these guys better than I like the stupid thieves. So.
All right. Point to Tice for getting us. It gives us a ton of options with this spell that you're inventing. I think is really cool and interesting. Point to Kristen for shopping montage, because shopping montages are great, and I look forward to the end results of how we apply it. Point to Ed for just getting Daska some more money, but not the rest of us. I think that's very in character, and fair enough. That's up Daska's alley. And point to Jackie for the old war stories that were shared between someone who somehow has even more experience of rock.
kind of scary actually, but there's some real badasses out there. It's a world of magic and shit. There's just crazy badasses out there.
No, you should hear about the one that's drug someone into the afterlife with them.
Oh yeah, so I posted in Talus a picture of me and that lady.
Yeah, that's appropriate.
Yeah. The only sad thing that I think is that I'm not able to use necromancy to rip bones out of living people.
That is technically biomancy, not necromancy.
Well, both results will probably end with them dead. I feel sorry for anyone that's still alive after having all their bones ripped out.
That is one of the things that the Bone Tyrant, which is the last remaining Aphthian god, he's all about that, about like taking people's bones and forcing them to do things that are against those people's will. Like that giant cow golem. There was just a bunch of living cows whose bones had all fused together into a giant monster, but the cows were still alive.
There was that classic D&D thing that we did. God, that was like maybe more than a decade ago. I think it was Lee. And he was playing as a psionic and had like his own power list. We were fighting something or other, and he was like, all right, I don't have to do this because it's probably gonna like totally tap me out. He goes drag me out, but I'm gonna use the mind blender. And then someone was like, I think maybe Justin was just like, I thought you were a telekinetic. And he was like, I am.
Oh yeah, classic. Alrighty, thank you everybody. There's just another loud explosion out there, so I'm gonna go ahead and call this recording to an end. But yeah, we'll see you guys on Discord, and we'll pick this up next week.
Yay.
Yay.
One of the side effects and benefits of the loud explosions is that it sets off the car alarms.
Yeah, that's boy, that's great. I'm so glad that's what's happening right now.
Yeah.
All right.
What a time to be alive.
This will be going on all weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Mama just bought Anatomist because Mama's also gonna get later go for the eyes, which is a cool talent.